I can't even type. I had one shot and I feel drunk.
No, like it went down my shirt.
Sorry.
It's like
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Those Blockhead Chicks. We are those Blockhead Chicks. And tonight we are bringing you a very special, thankful episode where we're going to talk about those 5 gorgeous guys that brought us all together, because that is why we're here, because of those 5 guys, and talk about what we're thankful for besides you guys, right? Hey everybody, I'm Sandy.
hi, I'm Nicole.
I'm Cindy.
Hi, I'm Andrea.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kayla. Goodness.
All right, everybody take a shot.
Shot.
Water,
A
Mine
swig.
feels like a shot.
Take a
because
nice
it's so
swig.
Strong, but okay. Take a swig. Okay.
Kayla,
man.
what's going on?
What's up with your internet?
All right. So for our Thanksgiving episode here, first we're going to talk about the thing we're very, very thankful for, which is our 5 favorite guys. By telling everybody, let's see, what is your earliest memory of becoming a blockhead? Like, do you remember that moment where you heard those 5 beautiful voices and you went, yeah, that's what I'm going to devote the next 35 years of my life to? Do you remember that moment? I remember that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's hear it.
This is Cindy. And my cousin, Devlin, who's like 8 years older than me, she was like, Cindy, I got tickets to Tiffany. And I was like, Tiffany? Oh, I like her song. I think we're alone now. And she's like, yeah. And there's these guys, they're opening up for her and they're New Kids on the Block. I was like, who the hell is that? I was like, I don't care. I want to go see Tiffany. And between the time she bought the tickets and the time we actually went, I figured out who the hell they were. And I was super excited. And we were like in the 10th row, which in a little civic center in Poughkeepsie, New York. And I was completely overwhelmed. My eyes the entire night were on Jonathan. I know I'm a Joey girl, but that entire night I kept looking at John. I was like, he is so cute. Who is he? And so as soon as the concert was over, she bought me a t-shirt. I had the New Kids, like their first concert shirt or whatever. And my mom took me to the grocery store and I bought the magazine and they were in there and I looked at all their birth dates and I was like, oh my God, he's old. I was like, I can't like him. And then I was like, well, who's the youngest? And that's how I fell in love with Joe. I literally was just based off his
The
birthday.
youngest?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, he'll fall in love with me and we can be together. I'm 10, he's 16 or 17. That seems logical, right? It's not illegal. Yeah, so that's how I fell in love with Joe. And then I was obsessed. I bought every magazine, every button, every shirt, and took my best friend on along for the ride. And that was it. We were hooked. And it was horrible. I mean, it was amazing, but it was like obsessed. Like I had to have everything. Everything. I had the marbles. I had the lunchbox. I had the t-shirts. I had the buttons. I had the coat. I had every magazine. Every ounce of my wall was wallpapered with them, and Joey being number 1. So much so that we talked about this before, but I got his haircut. I took a picture of the mushroom and said, can you do this to me?
Oh, I didn't know that's how you got it.
Yeah, I literally like had I want to be him. And I knew Donnie wore glasses and I bought fake glasses because I've always had a little mac and cheese tendencies. I blame it on the pillowcase because they're on the same side. So I had the leather peace sign necklace thing that Donnie wore. I wore the fake glasses and I had the Joey cut. And then even grew a tail at one point. It was that obsessed.
She had a rat tail.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It was bad. And it lasted like that until I remember going into maybe 8th grade. And people were like, you still like New Kids on the Block? And that's when I started like closeting my New Kid, especially being a minority. I know maybe this isn't something path we want to go down, but I want to be honest. Like being Black and being a New Kids fan was even more difficult because people were like, those white guys? I'm like, I fucking love them. Like I'm half white. So there was like that, but like I was supposed to like New Edition or Velvet DeVoe when they separated and stuff. And I liked them too, but I was obsessed with New Kids. So I got a lot of slack for being a fan, being Black. But then they broke up and then I went down a different path. But yeah, that's my New Kids story in a nutshell.
Okay, that was cold. I missed my mouth. I would tell my boobs.
I don't remember the exact moment that I heard them. The earliest thing that I can remember is they were on the Mickey Mouse Club, which I was watching all the time, and I seen them perform there. And my mother got me tickets for a Hangin' Tough tour, which was at the Boston Garden. And we were behind when they sold tickets behind the stage, top row. And I had like a jacket on with all the big buttons hanging off. And a friend of mine came with me. And all I could remember is like I tried to like go down the stairs and try to be close to them. And I just remember seeing their backs all night. Like Joey's little smiley face was running behind the stage because they had like a walkway where they could go around. And I just kept looking. I'm like, one day I'm gonna be down there. Like I could see them grabbing the girls' hands. I'm like, oh my God. Then it turned into I needed everything. My mother said Magic Summer Tour was coming up then, the next tour. And I could either go to Magic Summer Tour or to Disney World. Well, I didn't go to Disney World until a couple of years ago. So we know what I chose. And I was really far away. My mother said, don't tell your father because I paid $150 a ticket. And back then, that was a lot of money. And, so we took the train to Foxborough Stadium and I held the sign. I remember I had a hat on. I have pictures somewhere, but it was just back then. I still love them going into high school. Obviously, Face the Music came out in '94. I was starting high school. And then they were gone. And like Cindy, I still listen to them and stuff, but there wasn't no shows to go to. So I just started listening to other music.
You went there.
I've seen it. I don't want to say nothing.
Honestly, I don't remember how it all started because I can't remember anything. I've had a brain tumor and brain surgery since then. And so it could be old age. It could be the brain surgery. I don't know. But anyways,
My
okay.
goodness.
Yeah. So I just remember hearing their music on the radio and then going to the store and, looking at the tapes. And I grew up, we didn't have a lot of money, but there was a lot of love, and even though there wasn't a lot of money, I was very fortunate. I don't want to like, oh, woe is me, but I didn't have any of this stuff. But what really drew me to New Kids was the fact that they were all from really large families. My dad is one of 15 and I'm one of 7. And so whenever I learned that the guys were all from large families, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like they would totally get me and get, the whole large family thing. I was kind of like Cindy. It was kind of weird that they were a lot older. So I think I was only 4 or 5 years old whenever the New Kids on the Block, the original tape that we all love, whenever it came out. And so, yeah, I went for the youngest. I went for Joe. He's the youngest and I'm the youngest of 7 and he's the youngest out of his family. And so that's how I knew. That's how I was like, yeah, I like him. But like a lot of you, I kind of stuck with it as long as I could. In my area, it it wasn't that big. They did come to Shreveport twice. The first time, my dad did not think, he thought that he was like, she doesn't even like them. And so I didn't even get to go to the first tour. My aunt actually had an extra ticket, and he told her that I had no clue who they were. He's like, yeah, I don't think she listens to them. I had the meltdown of all meltdowns of all
Oh.
meltdowns. And then the No More Games tour came to Shreveport, and my mom's like, I can only afford one ticket. And I'm like, Mom, I think I was like, gosh, I don't know how old I was, but I was little. I definitely needed adult supervision. I was like, Mom, what's gonna happen? Like, what's going on? And I remember that I had floor seats. She was like, we'll just find someone else who has the floor seats, and maybe you can like squeeze in with them somehow. And I'm like, Mom, this is not gonna work. It worked. I had a friend who had an aunt who actually did the sleeping in the tent to get the tickets. Do you guys remember that? Like people
Mhm.
would like actually stay and sleep in the tents. She actually ended up with 3 second row tickets. And one of the seats was for a 3-year-old. A 3-year-old who was going to be sitting on the lap of someone. And so my friend and I, we shared a seat, but you don't actually sit.
Sit.
You stand. And so we're little girls, so that one spot was perfect for the two of us. It was amazing. And I knew that I had to get back there as soon as they started doing their tours and stuff. And so, yeah, I guess that's my story. So that's how I became a New Kid
I
fan,
like how
a
you
Blockhead.
started that with how you were like 4 or something, because damn, am I old, I guess. Like, whenever one of those stories starts, they're like, I don't know, I was so little, and I'm just like, oh my God, how old am I?
How the heck I get rid of this little thing? Oh, forget it.
That's what she said.
I grew up in an area where, like, I don't know, did you guys ever get made fun of because you liked New Kids? I know Cindy, like, you talked about it a little bit, but
I
anybody
was kind
else?
of like, I never, well, my story is really different.
Okay, yeah, so tell us your story, Kayla.
Okay. Me and my sister were 5 years apart. So when oh God, it had to be 89 or 90, whatever it was. I was 4 in 1990. And my sister was 9. And then I want to say I was around 5, because what my memory is, I was in kindergarten, because I remember running off of the school bus because I had morning kindergarten, and the bus would drop me off in front of my house in the afternoon, and I would eat lunch. So when my sister, she was the one that was able to do everything and get everything. And I remember she had a poster and the bed sheets, and she had her best friend lived maybe like 2 houses over. So me as a younger sister always wanted to do what they did. And of course, when New Kids came out, and the song that I always listened to was Remember When with
Yeah.
Joey. I can
Yeah.
remember. That's all I hear is like his high pitch. So that was always in my head, and I was like, oh, I like them. And that's so cute. And I don't know, I was 5. Like, I don't know any other 5-year-old little girl that gets a crush like that. But I remember there was it had to be the pay-per-view thing, because I was too young to go to the concert. My sister went with her friend, and I remember having not a temper tantrum. I think I just cried because I was too young, and I was too young to have the buttons, and I was too young to have the shirt. And I never understood that because it was a shirt. It wasn't a swear or anything like that. Oh, okay. So she was able to go to the concert, and then I don't know what it was that I was able to watch on TV, but we had a little cot bed that like you open up. You know what I'm talking about? It was like old. It wasn't it was like a bed. That's what I used to use as my bed, because me and my sister shared a room. And I just remember my parents taking the cot out into the living room, and they made it like a bed, and they put the TV there, and they're like, we're gonna go to the concert. And I'm like, okay. thinking we were going, but it was on TV. And I just remember them putting the concert on and not putting faces to the song because I always listen to the song. And then when I actually saw these guys singing the song that I always listen to, it was different for me at a young age, I guess, because I liked the music, but I didn't know who was singing it. I thought it was a girl. Sorry, Joan, but I did. I thought it was I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I remember Jordan, and I remember him with a long earring, and I remember his nice floofy hair. And that was it. I don't know. I was 5. I saw him and I'm like, he is so cute. And, I think I whispered it to my mom because my dad was very strict, like, no boyfriends. And when my mom was like, they don't live that far away because where we were to them was like less than an hour. So I didn't know if she was telling the truth or not. At that age, I believed her. And that was when she was like, you can write them letters. And I said, really? Okay. And so that was when my dad never said no. So to me, that was like, he approves of me liking Jordan. That's okay. So that was like a big thing. So that was when I started writing these letters to him. And I don't know what they would say at 5 years old. I don't know if I wrote them or if I would tell my mom what to write. But I remember getting off the school bus and she would say, Jordan wrote you back. And I would guess, oh, he was like, this lasted a long time. And even when I was older, my mom passed away, my dad passed away, and I was in school. And I don't know what happened between that because my life was kind of like a mess. But I remember in middle school was when Jordan came out with Give It to You. And I never told my friends. And in my head, I was like, oh, that's my pen pal. Like I never told anybody. And up until literally when I just bought this house with my husband, I was talking to my sister on the phone and I said, remember when Jordan used to write me letters? And her response was, you idiot, that was mommy. So like I really honestly thought it was him and I never bragged about it because, when your parent tells you something, you believe it. And, like I never had that. I was kind of mad, disappointed, sad, but then it was like that was actually really sweet in a way because like if my son told me, I like this actress or singer, I don't know if I would be like, you know what, why don't you write her a letter? You know what I mean? Like I can't think of that. But singing the songs and, like finally being independent on my own and not having to ask like parents for stuff and you're able to get your own things like CDs.
Yeah.
Like I only had the little white tape. So like, I always kind of listen to like if I listened to them, I listened to them. I would tell my friends, they would be like, I don't know who that is. Like to this day, they're like, I don't know. Like when I'm at work and they're like, I don't know, would you go see the Backstreet Boys? I'm like, no. It's like I never got made fun of because I never really cared, but
Okay, my husband just sent me a really inappropriate text. Anyway, then tell us.
I don't really remember a whole lot, honestly. I mean, I remember I was probably about 10, so that's brings us about 1990. And I remember that I had all their pictures all over my wall. I had a big one of Jordan and a big one of Joey. So I was always going between the two of them. I remember me and my friends used to just listen to them all the time. Like we're just like played our tapes, kept on playing them and playing them and playing them. I never got to see them in concert. They did, at the time I was living in Virginia, and they did come around. I think it was either Washington or Richmond. And all my friends had tickets. They all went to go see them. I didn't. I stayed home, and I still haven't like live that down with my parents. Like I tell my mom all the time, I'm like, I never got to see them when I was younger. So now I'm living it up. I can buy my own tickets and see them whenever I want. I didn't make it quite to Face the Music. Kind of dropped off right before then. But Yeah, that's about it. I don't remember like exactly the moment I heard them, or it was probably just, you know, playing at school or playing on the radio. And I just fell in love. That's about it.
Doesn't it feel good though to be able to buy your own ticket? I always thought
Yes.
Yes.
And now
Well, when
Yes.
they came back, I remember watching them on the Today Show, and they came back and they had the tour. I was like, I am going to see them,
Yeah.
and I went. And when I went to that concert, it was at in Massachusetts at Great Woods,
Oh my gosh.
and I didn't get great seats. They weren't bad, but they set up a box right beside me, and I'm like, oh my god, one of them's going to be right there. And I was like, oh, I hope it's Joey or Jordan. It was Donnie. So, but I was so excited. He was like 3 people away from me. I touched him, and I'm like, I just fell completely in love right after that concert again. I was like, yep, done.
That I love he did that. I love Jordan for that.
I am apparently older than everybody else because I was in like the 5th or 6th grade at a skating rink in Bossier City, Louisiana. The first time I heard Please Don't Go Girl during, the nice little slow skate, because I went to the skating rink every Friday and Saturday night in the 5th and 6th grade. My parents would just drop me off. That was like, I guess they went and had date night. I don't know. Every Friday and Saturday night, I got dropped off at the skating rink. Please Don't Go Girl. And I heard it several weeks in a row. And every time it came on, I was like, oh my God, this song is just like, I love this so much. So finally I went up and just asked the DJ, what is this? Who sings this? Because I have to go find it. And he was like, oh yeah, I don't know. It's some group from Boston. It's called New Kids on the Block. I don't know. But he was like, yeah, just go look them up. You'll see. And so I went and looked it up. And as soon as I, found out who they were, and I saw the little picture and stuff, it took forever to find it because I know that was pre-internet because I'm a dinosaur. And so I had to like go find them and everything. Finally found a copy of Bob magazine with their little picture in it and was just like, oh my God, saw Joey's blue eyes, instantly in love. So had to have my parents take me to go get the tapes. So I immediately got Hangin' Tough and I immediately got the New Kids on the Block tape. Backseat of the car all the time, in my just like listening to them in my Walkman all the time. Shortly after that, we moved to Guam. And so, of course, they don't do concerts like that in Guam. But I had my little bot magazines and all that stuff. So I basically wallpapered my room in the pictures and the posters. So I didn't really have any of the other merch back then because my parents didn't really believe in that kind of stuff. So, but I was able to get the magazines. So I had all the magazines and all of that kind of stuff all over my room. When we got back to the continental United States in the 8th grade, that was the first time I got to go to a concert in Wichita, Kansas. My mom got me tickets because one of her friends was going to take her daughter. And so she was like, I know how you feel about these guys, so we're going to go. And of course, it was the cheap nosebleed tickets, like way, way up in the top of the back stadium and everything. And I was just instantly in love. And the friend that we were staying with at the time, we were a military family. That's why I was in Guam. And we had just gotten transferred to McConnell Air Force Base. So we were staying with a host family. And the girl there had the sheets and she like had all of the stuff. And so I was so excited because she let me borrow the sheets and she let me borrow the Joey like nightgown and stuff. And we got to go to the little concert together. And I mean, it was just, it never ended for me. Like everybody's like, oh, well, when, Face the Music came out or, whatever, they just kind of trickled off. I never stopped listening to them. Like I had every tape. And then as soon as CDs came out, I switched and I got every CD. And then when they broke up, and I cried for months because they broke up, but then, Joey came out with his Stay the Same and all that stuff. And so I got all that. And I got to go to, I only got to go to one of Joey's solo concerts. That was at a little bar in Deep Ellum in Dallas, Texas. And I was so excited because it was a little bar and he was there with Iman. And I got to go up on the top. There was like a little overhanging balcony right over the stage. And I got to go up there for it. So it was almost like finally having a front row seat. And, you know, he looked up at me and waved. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm like in love forever. So I'm going to marry him. I'm sorry. And of course, as we know, that didn't happen. I married my high school sweetheart instead,
Oh,
who now supports my new kid's addiction. And even though he taunts me relentlessly, he once they started touring again with the reunion tour, he was the first one that said, you know, absolutely, you need to go get a ticket and go see them. And so I've been to every tour since then. And when they first, you know, the first tour and all the way up to 2019, I had to go by myself because my husband was like, yeah, I'm not doing that with you. Just no. And I was like, that's fine. I don't want to take you to see my boyfriend anyway. So it's fine. So I went by myself all the way until 2019 when I met Nicole. And then we've been traveling together ever since. So whenever the guys are like, you know, you guys left us and, you know, we didn't get to, you know, you guys weren't there and everything. And I'm always like, but I was always there and I never
You and
left.
Kelly. You and Kelly were at the bar mitzvahs.
Yeah, we never left. Like we had
Been
some
to their
we
birthday
went to
party.
everything.
kind
They
of
didn't
like
know,
Kayla,
but-
I had some rough stuff growing up, and I always had my Walkman with those
Mhm.
New Kids tapes. Like that was my happy place. It was always there. Joe's voice was what like carried me through for years. It continues to be my happy place. I mean,
Aw.
to this day, much to my husband's chagrin, if something is like going wrong and I'm having a meltdown, you just like put on my little earbuds and just like listen to New Kids on the Block, and it's
Mhm.
everything is fine now because I'm back in my little world. So
Keeping us in check.
So we're gonna merge
Yeah.
those two
Get us,
episodes
Whoopi.
together.
I was thinking if we merge those two
You're being
episodes
Joy
together-
Behar right now.